Welcome to the Simply Financial podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Calandra. My guest today is Chris Reed. He is the CEO of Ardor SEO. I want to ask Chris, I have trouble saying Ardor, by the way. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's one of those tricky words for me for some reason. But Ardor SEO is a search engine optimization company. He has a terrific background, having traveled the world. He's worked previously in finance for companies such as Visa Europe and Euroclear Bank. And so we're going to talk a little bit about small business, search engine optimization, and a few other things that I want to pick his brain about. Chris, thanks for spending some time with me today.
Hey man, it's great to be here and coming to you from the other side of the world, even the future. I'm in the evening, you're in the daytime, and I'm all the way in Saigon in Vietnam. And it's just a great world in which we live in now that you can do business with anyone around the world.
That is excellent. So you might blow some people's mind with you coming from the future. So much has happened over these last many months that people are open to just about anything happening. It's such a strange world. So some people may actually think you're coming from the future.
Oh man, every morning when I wake up and check the news, see what crazy town USA has been up to.
So maybe we could start here. Help me out, because I am not the best in terms of digital internet marketing. Here at Elliott Wealth Management, we have Dan Conti, who leads our efforts on that front. So I lean heavily on him. But in preparation, I saw a term SEM versus SEO. And even though it's not my area of expertise, I've heard SEO for a while now, and it's something that we here at Elliott Wealth Management want to improve. So SEO stands for search engine optimization, right, Chris?
That's correct.
And tell me about SEM.
Just to bridge that, right? Like most people kind of know of SEO, maybe SEM, whatever, but like people think that they need a website these days to have a business, and it's like, you don't need a website. Just build a Facebook page if you're not going to market a website. What's the point in spending 20 grand on a website if you're not going to get it in front of anyone and generate any business? A website's just like a business card. You can have really beautiful business cards, and if they're sitting in your desk drawer, they're not going to make any money. It's a waste of freaking time. Don't bother getting them printed. And the same with a website. It needs to get out there and get in front of the people that are looking for your products and services. And where does anyone go and look these days? Or Google, right? And so SEO is search engine optimization, basically showing Google that you're an authority and working out what your customers are searching for to get your message in front of where they're looking. And man, there ain't no better way of growing your business than that. SEM is referred to as search engine marketing, and that's just the paid version of that. So that's where Google makes all their money. In fact, Alphabet, the parent company of Google, something like 95% of their revenue comes through Google ads. It's like the vast majority. And so like anytime you go and search like, any lawyer term in the US or financial advisor, any city, if you search financial advisor, New York City, there'll be ads. The top 3 will be ads. Then there's 10 organic listings. And then there's usually some more ads on the bottom. Those ads, when someone clicks on them, they have to pay Google money. All the organic listings, they don't. That's free-ish. You need to have a really good website to be able to rank there, though. So it's not exactly free, but that's the difference between SEO and SEM.
So you mentioned not everybody needs to have a website. I think that's what you said, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like having a website is by far the best way of growing your business because you can do it predictably, but you have to market a website. If you're not going to leave a marketing budget to build a website, then don't bother wasting your time. Like all the time we have people come to us that have spent 20 grand on a website and generate zero business from it because they go to a web designer, and web designers might be good at making pretty things, but pretty things don't sell things. Things need to be in front of people's eyes to be able to sell them.
So help me with this, because this has been my view, and perhaps it's either outdated or maybe it was always incorrect. But it seemed to me that a business requires a website, and it substituted what used to be a yellow pages ad, where at the bare minimum, you need to have a website so that you could say you have a website, even if it's not what you're going to describe as a driver of customers and activity, economic activity.
Yeah, I mean, then it's really just a vanity thing, right? It's like saying I got a big car, like whatever, who cares? Like if it's not functional, what's the point of it? Like the whole purpose of a website is to introduce you to the world. Like, where do people go to look for products and services? They don't go to YouTube. They don't go to Facebook. They certainly don't go to the yellow pages anymore. They go to Google and they type financial advisor near me or financial advisor New York or LA or whatever the heck. Then they trust Google search results. Even the paid ads, Google would love it if people click on those ads more because that's where Google makes all their money. But only about 6 to 8% of people click on ads. That's about 94% of the traffic that's going to the organic. So that's going to get the vast majority of the clicks. And even of the 10 search results that come up in the organic, they certainly don't get an even distribution of those clicks. If you're down the bottom at number 10, you get around 3 to 4% of the clicks. If you're up at the top at number 1, you get 10 times the amount of traffic, 31% of the clicks. So like most people just click on number 1. So that's just the first step, right? Getting someone to your website. Then you need to convert them into a customer, right? And Amazon, if you talk about like e-commerce websites, Amazon converts just so much better than every other e-commerce website on the planet because everyone knows and trusts Amazon. All right, like if I search for blue widgets and Amazon comes up in Google search results, I click on it, I know I can buy a widget and I'll get a good customer experience. Just last week, I went to some website, bought a $600 product, and it was crap. And I asked for a refund straight away because it was nothing like it was a digital product, nothing like they advertised. And I'm not hearing anything from their customer service. Now I'm gonna have to call my bank, file a dispute. It's gonna be a right pain in the ass.
Right.
And that's a risk you go with someone that you don't know. And so that's why most websites don't convert as well as Amazon. You need to get people's trust. Like, especially if you're in the finance world, right? You can't have it like buy now. Like we work with a lot of like syndication companies where they'll be raising money for a multifamily investment. Usually the minimum's like $50,000. And you can't have a little buy now button to take someone's $50,000. It's not going to work like that. So how a website works really effectively, it needs to scream what you do, like that a caveman can arrive at your website and understand it. It goes, hey, we do wealth management, because often people are searching for a problem, right? They don't know that you're the solution to that problem. So you need to really scream, we scratch your itch, dude, because they're searching for the itch. And then, show some examples of other people that you've helped, solve this problem for. And then make it really easy for people to get to know you. So you don't want to like go, hey, give me $50,000 or hey, book a call. It's too aggressive. People don't know who you are yet. Or if you give them what's called a lead magnet. So like, one thing that we'll do with like a syndication company is like the 5 biggest mistakes people make when getting into investing. And so people give you your email address, they download the guide, they, read the 5 biggest mistakes and they go, wow, this guy really knows what he's talking about. And then you can start like nurturing that lead and moving them towards a customer. And that's how you build a killer website.
Very good. Now, that was a great explanation. Is there a differentiation between websites that you could actually acquire the product or service through a click-through process versus websites where there has to be a transaction that happens outside of the website? So the lead magnet is more call our office or schedule a meeting or something akin to that. Is there a differentiation in SEO and SEM in those two different components?
SEOs or SEM are both just about getting traffic to a website. Then it's called conversion rate optimization to like turn that traffic into a customer. So SEO is about understanding what your clients are searching for, what keywords they are, then structuring the website, structuring content to show Google that you're the perfect answer to that person's search query. And then Google puts your website in front of where they're looking. So that's stage 1. You can have the best sales funnel in the world or best website in the world. It's not going to convert if you haven't got any traffic. So stage 1 is always getting the traffic. Then you need to convert that traffic. And that's where your website and your CRO comes in. So what you missed up, you misspoke when you said your lead magnet could be booking a call. Like that's not a lead magnet. Because like asking someone to book a call is just, it's very aggressive because they don't know who you are yet, right? Where a lead magnet is download our guide or download this video or whatever, something that, gives them some value, shows them who you are. Like, heck, you can even like send them a podcast, go listen to me on this podcast. It builds some authority. They go, wow, that guy knows what he's talking about. Hopefully some people are enjoying this podcast right now and think that we're not rabbiting on with too much garbage. But that builds your authority and tone. And then they go, well, that guy's not too scary. Maybe I'll listen to some more stuff that he said. And then you ask them to book a call. And by the time that person's actually proactively booked a call with you, like they already, indoctrinated that you're a cool guy and they like your messaging. And so it's going to sell. Like, we work a lot in real estate. And, one of our newer clients, she's big. She's already doing 100 million a year. And she's like, well, I don't have much time. Like you can't just give me crappy leads. I need qualified leads that are going to convert. I don't have time to speak to people that are tire kickers. And that's what you can do with a beautiful website is you bring all of those leads in and then you filter them out. Like you can ask them questions, get them to, jump through hurdles so you can filter out the tire kickers so that you're only speaking to the best people that are qualified, really hot leads.
It seems to me, though, based as a consumer now, that most websites are not particularly good at this. Now, I'm not talking about, like you said, Amazon or huge retailers and things like that. I'm talking about small business websites, and small businesses still do a tremendous amount of business throughout the United States and the world. So it's very impactful, their footprint in the economies around the world. But it doesn't seem like most websites are particularly good at what you're describing.
Most websites suck. That's the absolute truth. Most people aren't doing any SEO because they don't understand it. Most web design companies don't understand it. They're taking people's money for no reason. Like it is difficult. It is hard, and it's hard to get your head around. I've been doing it for years, and live and breathe it. So it just seems second nature to me. But like a lot of people think it's black magic. It's not really. I'm a software engineer, so I understand algorithms. Google is a bunch of algorithms written by software engineers. So like you feed Google what it wants and it, your website pops up for number one. But that's the beauty of it, right? Is like 10 years ago, it was much easier to rank a website than it is today. But it's also way more valuable to rank a website than it was 10 years ago because the internet economy is just so much bigger. Then you imagine it's hard to fathom what the internet's going to be like in 10 years time, right? Like, 10 years ago, there was barely Facebook. Like it was a whole different world. Now it's like everything. Bezos is by far the richest man in the world. Imagine, he's probably going to own half the world in the next 10 years. So like building a website now is the best time to build one was 10 years ago, but the second best time is now because the internet economy is just going to keep getting bigger and better. And especially with, things like COVID going around where, everyone's in lockdowns and shops have to close, everything's moving online. And thankfully, most small business haven't done anything. So it's really easy to go and dominate your market.
Interesting. By the way, just as a useless tidbit, because I'm a geek, is Jeff Bezos has fallen on tough times because Elon Musk is now the richest person in the world, the founder of Tesla.
Poor man.
Yes. Yeah. So if you run into him in Vietnam, he might be a little depressed. You might need to give him a little.
I'll buy him a tiger.
Yeah, there you go. So could we flip it around for a second and talk about listeners that, let's say, are more consumers and they have problems. They're looking for information. They may want to get educated on various things that could help their business or their personal situation. Could be financial, could be whatever. And so they're looking. They go to organic sites, and all the time you're asked to click here, click there, sign up for this, give us this email address, that kind of thing. So as a consumer, are there tips you can give to say, hey, listen, if companies are doing this, this is a hint that they are not legitimate, because you can't judge by that, but seem to be competent at website management and e-commerce, there would be a sign that it might be a well-run company that you could take seriously.
Oh man, I mean, as I mentioned before, I bought $600 worth of crap from
So
just last week.
yes,
The
so you
website,
could write a white article on what not to do.
exactly. You just can't tell. Their sales copy was fabulous. Their front end was really good. When you log into the info product, it's crap, and you're like, man, it, a lot of people just wouldn't bother asking for a refund, I imagine, and they make enough money from that they don't need to worry about it. Like it's a website's a shell. You can't tell how good a company is behind it, right? Like it's
okay. But that's one good piece of advice, that just because a company has a good front end that's slick, easy to use, visually pleasing, that does not mean that they are competent on the back end and will execute well or deliver the product or service that you might be expecting.
For sure. There's a lot more to business than just having a pretty website, right? Like even Amazon, they've got, an amazing website, but if they didn't deliver on their orders, then, they wouldn't be where they are.
So going back to what you had said, just because I'm thinking through our conversation, and there are certain businesses that should have productive websites that have lead generation tools that are using SEM and SEO. And ultimately, the transaction may not happen online, but you can drive them to a call, a meeting, something like that. Or it's the same process, but you may be trying to convert people to click through and actually buy the product or service online. But the process up to that point is the same. It just then splits between, we're going to transact through the internet, through the website, or you're going to contact us, meet us, schedule a call, schedule a Zoom, stop into our location. But the process is the same in the lead up to that. Is that right?
Pretty much. I mean, like, we have e-commerce customers, and some of them sell their products on Amazon as well. And it's like, you can certainly sell a lot of stuff on Amazon. Amazon's a massive marketplace, but using Amazon or any third party, it's like that person owns your customer, where like you want stuff on your website. Like that's the same as like Facebook or YouTube. If you're using those platforms, those people own your customer, not you. Like if someone's on your Facebook page, it's really easy for them to get distracted and go somewhere else. Or if someone's on your website, like you own their attention for, well, at least whilst they're on your website. If you have, if you're selling a widget, or even one of our customers that sells luxury dog products, they sell like dog jackets like and collars that are like $5,000. Some people have got too much money, but who's buying a $5,000 dog collar? Someone, Jeff Bezos, maybe.
But, or Elon Musk.
But like, what we also want to give people is like a nice guide, right? It's like, hey, here's 5 things that dogs think about while they're at the dog park. Make it fun, make it that's relative to what a dog owner that is going to care about, and then you can start indoctrinating them. You don't want to just send them emails and go, hey, look at our buy this, buy that. You want to like show them stories. You go, hey, look at this, Johnny's little dog with his awesome new collar, and like you want to be the star of the dog park, then dress your dog up in this tutu. Like show them ways to use your products and services, and invite them into a story so that they feel good about it, not just like, hey, buy my stuff. Like that sort of emails don't work.
I was going to ask you, you mentioned email. How key is email marketing as part of the process to drive traffic to your website?
Well, that's the opposite round. Like the money is in the list, right? It's a very old saying, and it's so true today. You want to get people on your email list. So the whole purpose of your website, like I imagine most of your listeners are service-based businesses. So people don't particularly buy anything from your website, right? They just go and check out who you are.
Sure.
So the first time you get someone to your website, you want to get them on your email list and saying, hey, sign up for our newsletter. That's not going to work. No one wants more damn email. And that's where you have your nice lead magnet, right? Download our guide, give us your email. And now you have that person's permission to send them emails. And so now you want to start indoctrinating them. You send them an email, hey, listen to me on this podcast. Look, don't I sound cool? Watch this YouTube video, read this article I wrote. And now they start going, wow, this guy really knows what he's talking about. And now you can lead them towards booking a call. Who knows, like, while they were looking for your services and didn't take action right then, they couldn't be busy, whatever. You don't know what's going on in people's lives. But if you can keep top of mind when they are free up, when they've got the money, or when they're ready, you're right there to book a call. They're not particularly going to come back to your website later. You already have that connection with them. So that's the process. It's not an email list to get people to your website. It's your website to get people on your email list.
So in my industry historically, so this is my 29th year as a financial planner, and I don't know the exact number, but there's a statistic out there that to convert someone, this has nothing to do now with digital marketing or website, this is just in general, that you need 7 to 9 contacts. It's one of those numbers, either 7, 8, or 9. So let's just pick 8. So you need 8 contacts with that potential client before they will sign on and become your client. And so, in the past, that used to be, you could call them, invite them to a meeting, there's all kinds of non-internet based elements to that. But I want to know, is the modern version of that, is there a similar statistic on if you want to convert a client, could you tell a particular industry, say real estate syndicates, do you get a sense of how many touches or contacts, how much dripping has to occur before the conversion rate increases notably?
Yeah, I mean, like it's still pretty similar statistics around the 8 number. And so that's what you want to do, is have your website and your evergreen funnel doing all that work for you. So you don't have to do all those touch points. They download your lead magnet. They go, wow, this guy's cool. Listen to me on this podcast. Most people don't know how podcasts work. So they go, holy crap, he's got a podcast. Man, that guy must be like a superstar. And it builds a lot of trust and a lot of authority. Like people see you on YouTube. It's like, man, how do you get a video on YouTube? You're like, I put videos on YouTube for my kids and they like, oh, wow, you're so cool. Like it's a great way to build authority and trust. And so even like, as I mentioned before, when that person goes and books a call with you, they already know you. They know your messaging. Like people buy from people. Like I guest on podcasts a lot. We send out newsletters a lot. I'm the face of our company. If you don't like my funny Australian accent, then you're probably not going to do business with us. So it doesn't matter. But the people that do like my funny Australian accent, they go, wow, he's cute. He'll probably give me a koala bear if I call him. And I go, yes, have a koala bear for every new client. And you'll resonate with my messaging and you'll be a client.
So I think you're going to set up a landing page for listeners, right? Who may want to get more information about Ardor, and am I pronouncing that right? Because that's a tough word for me. Ardor CEO.
Well, Ardor means to do something with a fiery passion, and I even took out the U just so Americans could spell it properly. It should be ARDOUR, but I took out the U, Americanized it, and man, I still pronounce it wrong.
So you're going to set up a landing page, right? Let's tell them about it. But are you suggesting that if people go there, they're going to get a koala bear? Maybe not a koala bear, but
free koala for every client. That's our Australian guarantee. But there's a landing page set up. So Ardor means to do something with fiery passion, and that is the way that we do SEO. So if you go to Ardor SEO /Elliot, you'll see exactly what a lead magnet looks like. And man, I get critiqued on our sales funnel all the time. People go, man, that is a nice funnel. Jump into our funnel and you'll see how well it converts, because you'll come and become a client. But I'll make a video for you. So you go to ardorseo.com/Elliot and I'll make a video for you and show you, exactly what your potential customers are searching for in what search volume, and show you some simple things you can change yourself on your website to get your message in front of where these people are actively looking and predictably grow your business. So that's ardorseo.com/Elliot.
Very good. Chris, in the time we have left, one of the things that I saw on your bio And, listeners know that for people that are podcast guests, you have something called a one pager. So I have one, Chris has one, so that if somebody wants to have you a guest on the show, the one pager gives you some information on topics, background, that kind of thing. But one of the things on yours that caught my attention, given that I'm a financial planner, and this is the Simply Financial podcast, is establishing financial security. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
How I establish financial security?
Yeah. How do you define it, first off?
Financial security, well, for one, making more money than you need, that's pretty good. And not living paycheck to paycheck. Being financially free and secure, that's financial security, not stressing about bills.
All right. And so what do you like to talk about with your clients who are entrepreneurs, small business owners? They're usually high achievers with big dreams. I think, at least in my experience, very hardworking individuals. So what do you talk to them about the work that you do related to financial security? How do they tie in?
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of our business, right? Is we get to see on the inside of every business, because all of our clients, we look at their website so we can see their financials. We know, well, we see their revenue anyway. We don't get to see, their expenses or whatever, but we see how many customers are coming through. And there's so much things that business owners don't understand. Like I'll say, one of the first questions I'll ask is, what's your current cost per acquisition of a client? And they have no idea. You don't know how much it costs you to get a client? Well, how many more clients do you want? And they have no idea of their growth projection. They just want more. I'm like, man, you need to do some numbers. And that's what we try and help people do, to bring predictability. It was actually Larry Page, the co-founder of Google, that said, revenue cures all problems. And it's so true. I'm not the best businessman in the world. I've made plenty of mistakes. I had a HR steal like 30 grand off us one time. I made so many stupid business mistakes, but we know how to do marketing. We got more customers coming in every day. It's when you got more revenue than problems, it takes away all the stress and makes business a lot of fun. So that's financial security to me.
I like that. So and this is somewhat comical, but true, is my introduction to client acquisition costs came from watching Shark Tank with my kids, because Kevin O'Leary on Shark Tank always asks, or regularly asks, about client acquisition costs. And I don't know if you've ever seen the show Shark Tank.
I know, but yeah.
Yeah, but in the early seasons, nobody knew what client acquisition cost was either. But now people have gotten wise, and I imagine in preparing to come on the show, they're ready for Kevin O'Leary's question. So that's how I learned about it, from watching TV. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, good. You're well ahead of most of the game.
I think so. Although candidly, and I know a lot of my clients listen to the show, and a lot of potential clients in LE Wealth Management, I do not know what our client acquisition cost is. So I know. I probably built up a nice amount of rapport with you. We had a nice conversation. I hopefully seem articulate and maybe a little smart, and then I blow it here right at the end. So,
it's just bro. I won't tell anyone else.
All right. So Chris, thank you so much for joining me again. If individuals want to get more information about you and the services you provide at Ardor SEO, where would they go?
They could also go to Google and just type in the coolest guy in SEO. And if you don't see my pretty face, then Google's broken. All
right. Very cool. Listeners, thank you so much for joining me on today's show. Please subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already, and I will be back with you on the next episode of the Simply Financial podcast very soon. Thanks again.
The views expressed are not necessarily the opinion of SagePoint Financial Incorporated and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Please note, the information being provided is strictly as a courtesy. When you link to any of the websites provided here, you are leaving this website. We make no representation as to the completeness or accuracy of the information provided at these websites, nor is the company liable for any direct or indirect technical or system issues or any consequences arising out of your access to your use of third-party technologies, websites, information, and programs made available through this website. When you access one of these websites, you are leaving our website and assume total responsibility and risk for your use of the websites you are linking to. Securities and advisory services are offered through SagePoint Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Insurance services offered through Elliott Wealth Management, LLC, not affiliated with SagePoint Financial.